Hi, honeys. It's Michelle. Thank you for joining me for my October book reviews. I'm sorry this is a day late. I have been spending time with my mom. She's in town, and I've just been, trying to spend as much time with her as I can and get my apartment clean and all that kind of stuff all at the same time. Anyway, I just got home. I dropped her off, and I thought I better go ahead and record this tonight so that you don't have to wait another day. The first book I read is A Stranger in the House by Shari Lapena. She's the same author that wrote The Couple Next Door. It was another one of those books where I didn't like anybody in it. And I mean, I guess you don't have to like the characters, but I didn't care what happened to any of them. And I kind of felt like that with her other novel too, the Couple Next Door. So maybe I'm just not really quite a fan of hers. I mean, I hate to say that, but have you read any of her books? Let me know what you think. I'm just kind of curious if it's just me. I didn't even like the breakdown of what the book was about in the jacket. Basically, it's about this woman named Karen who's got a husband named Tom. Karen is accused of doing something. Tom just can't believe that she did it. She's got a friend that lives across the street named Bridget, and Bridget has a hard time believing Karen did it too. You start learning like all these secrets about everybody, and it just felt like a really cheesy Lifetime original movie, except reading it. And I do like Lifetime original movies. It just feels like so much time to invest into the cheesiness. I mean, it takes so long to read a book, right? Not only was I not attached to the characters, I wasn't attached to the place, the time, the house. Like nothing felt right to me. And maybe that was intentional. I'm not sure. This book was entertaining. There was a lot of twists and turns. I saw some of them coming. Other ones I was surprised by. The ending was left open in a way that I was able to use my imagination about what happened next. And I kind of like that sometimes. In this particular book, I liked that. I'm happy that the author left it open to me to decide, kind of like a choose your own adventure, like decide where I think it went after that. So I'd probably give this one 3.5 stars because it was entertaining. I mean, I read through it pretty quickly, and it was fun in a Lifetime original movie kind of way. The ones where like something's going on and the woman across the street wants your husband, and somebody killed the garbage man the night after he was looking in your window, or like that, just kind of weird, like cheesy. So I would recommend reading it if you like these kind of books, and just kind of be lighthearted about it, I guess I would recommend. But it's probably not something that I would read again. The next book I read was this one, Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam. Woo! Lord, this was a good book, I thought. Okay, now, reading the reviews of this book online, it would appear that people either love this book or they hate it. There's not a lot of in between. You either think this man is a genius for writing it and writing it the way he did, or you think, what was the point in all that? It was so stupid. So it's hard to know whether to recommend it or not, because to me, this was a beautiful, epic book that I plan on reading again. Brad's going to read it so we can talk about it. I had all these deep thoughts, and we ended up having all these conversations without me telling him what this book was about. But I found it very mentally stimulating. So I don't know. I mean, were people missing things I wasn't, or did I miss something that other people didn't, or I don't know. When I was reading this book, it was so fun because I was trying to think, okay, there's what I'm reading, and then there's what I think is going on, and then there's about 6 other things that could be going on. So basically, let me backtrack. This book is about a couple and their 2 kids. They rent a house to go on this bougie vacation. You know, like, oh, what's that called when you rent somebody's house for like a week or two? I can't, I've never done it, so I don't know what it's called. Anyway, they do that, whatever that's called, and they get this house for, I think it was a week, and they're just having this great vacation, and all of a sudden the owners show up to the house and tell them that something mysterious is going on. I'm not going to reveal a whole lot because I don't want to give anything away. Something really mysterious is going on, and they need to stay there too. It's like a Armageddon or end of the world or you know, one of those movies where it's like nobody knows what's going on and there's something mysterious happening and you don't know if it's just in the town you're in or if it's the whole country or if it's the whole world, that kind of thing. Like not world. What the hell was that movie? What was the movie with Will Smith? Am I that tired? I mean, I am tired. Can't even think of the other actors' names. Independence Day. Jeez. Okay. It's kind of like that too, where like you're just like, wait, what? Um, there's a couple different movies I could think of where it kind of reminded me of that, where you're trying to figure out what's going on, but like something's happening, but then you don't know if it's really happening or if it's in your head or if it's a lie or what. Anyway, so this couple wants to stay with them and they're trying to figure out if what they're saying is true. They're trying to figure out what's really going on, and all these things start kind of happening around them. So it's very entertaining, I thought. And he writes so beautifully. So this book scared me, like really scared me. I had a hard time falling asleep a few times. No, just once, because I read it in like 24 hours. No, okay. It was the first night, and then the next night after I was done reading it, I had a hard time falling asleep. But what scared me was my imagination. It wasn't the book that scared me. It was what I thought might be happening or what I might even think happened. That's what scared me. And just thinking of like humans and how we are and what it all means. And can you really rely on other people? Can you? I mean, who can you really rely on? That gets kind of creepy when you start really thinking about it. Like if it really came down to it, who could you actually count on? And who would you have to like knock out and leave behind kind of thing? It also kind of felt like, you know, like in a movie or even in real life, you hear a strange sound and it's like, do you really want to investigate it? Do you really want to know what's going on? Do you really want to know what that noise on the other side of the door is? I don't think I do. I think I'd rather just let the stranger stand on the other side of the door. Yeah. It's crazy too. I mean, I'm going kind of deep with this, okay? And you're thinking, what? Like, what? How does this book make her think about all this stuff? But it does. Um, it makes me think about how much we rely on information, but how much we rely on the information we're given. Is the information we're being given even true? We don't really know. I don't want to talk about politics, but regardless of what your political leanings are, you're going to believe certain things that other political parties will think is hogwash, right? And same vice versa. They're going to think that you're just when you're not. Or maybe you are. Are you? We don't know, right? And we base so much of our lives on the information we get, and we don't even know if it's really true. Do we? I mean, I don't think we really do. I mean, we decide what kind of car to buy, where to live, what house to buy, what stocks to get in the stock market. Then we look at the stock market and we decide, I even decide with my business, how to run it, what direction to go, whether or not it's going to be a good week, all off of the stock market. So what do you do when all that information stops coming to you? What do you do when you can't look at Google Maps anymore? What do you do when you can't go online anymore and look at the weather. Can't look at the stock market. Can't go. I love Twitter. Shh, I do. I love going on Twitter and looking at the news from people on the ground in different areas. There is nothing like that to me. I don't like reading what journalists have to say. And then I just kind of decide for myself what I think. But what do you do when you can't do that either anymore? I mean, you think about how important information is to us, especially now in the age of technology. This is how we communicate with people. So many of our friends are not even in the same state, the same country, and some of our friends we've never even really met in real life. It's not like 100 years ago where, unless it's family that moved away, all your friends live in your neighborhood probably or close by. It's such a different situation. And you think about how much information we get, how much drama we avoid with the internet. You go on Yelp, you find out whether or not this place will give you food poisoning if you eat there. Or you find out whether or not the bathrooms are clean at this gym or whatever. I mean, we learn a lot of information, a lot of very important safety information and happiness information just by going online and looking at reviews. Then you start thinking, or I started thinking, when you start thinking about the internet and it going down. Because I will give you one spoiler, the internet is off for most of this book. When the internet goes down, you can't get your news. You can't buy anything online. You can't look up where anything is or how to get there. You can't talk to anybody, especially if your phone suddenly doesn't work. You can't even listen to your music because unless you have a record player, okay, I do. But I mean, unless you have one like I do, how are you going to listen to music? Most of us listen to it via streaming. And I do listen to most of my music via streaming. So it's very fascinating when you start thinking about all this and all these layers and my brain started going so fast thinking about all these different things and what they could mean and how would I have lived my life if I lived 100 years ago? Would I still be me? I don't know. I mean, when I think about the friends I have right now, currently, that I see on a regular basis, I met them through information on the internet. Wouldn't have been able to find them. I never would have met them otherwise. And then I have the internet friends, and I have a great friend on YouTube here that I met through YouTube. I wouldn't even know her without the internet. We met on YouTube. So it's just really fascinating to think of this kind of stuff. I found this book to be a really beautiful, enlightening way to look at who's really important to me and who's not. But that's kind of one of those, if you dare to let the book take you there. That might be part of why people didn't like it, is if they didn't come at this book with a really open mind and just let their mind wander and go all these wild places. Because it is kind of scary to think of some of this stuff. Some of the things and people that don't really matter, and you put so much time and energy into these people and these things and this stuff, How many people put so much energy into getting the car they want or into getting a Rolex or whatever. And at the end of the day, when it comes down to life or death, you don't care about the Rolex. You don't care about the car. This book is a great reminder to trust your instincts. And it's also another reminder that survival skills are very important. Look, we have really been going through a lot of crazy stuff this last year. And if we've learned anything, I think it's that being prepared for change is a little bit more important than maybe we thought. I think we all were getting kind of comfortable with the way things were. And yeah, they had been changing, but at a steady pace in the same direction. And all of a sudden it was boom, everything's different. And I think a lot of us have already reevaluated who's important and why. But survival is probably a pretty important skill. So I've definitely thought about that too. What I need to learn. So, Mr. Alam, thank you for writing this book. I think it's a masterpiece. I'm going to keep it. I will reread it. I think It's a just wonderful book, and I give this 5 out of 5 stars. Hands down, 5 out of 5 stars. I don't know what's wrong with the people that don't like it, but I don't agree with them. And that's okay. Next up, Nosferatu. Whoa, you guys. Okay, this is written by Joe Hill. And it's funny because when I looked at the back of the book, I thought, wow, he really looks like Stephen King. Turns out that's his son. Of course he looks like him, right? Now, this book it is a book. I mean, it is a novel. 692 pages long. It's a scary book. If you don't like scary books, maybe don't read this one. Basically, this book is about a girl named Victoria. They call her Vic for short. And she has a special ability, if you will. And so she's exploring what it is, what it means, how to maneuver throughout her life with this special power or skill. And it really affects her whole life in a very dramatic way. And there's 2 other people that she encounters that also have similar special powers or skills. And they all affect each other. And one of the people in this book has their own world that they've created that she's able to go to. And other people end up going to as well. I don't want to give anything away in case you read it. It's really good though. But if you like other people's worlds that are created, that are very creative and kind of scary, like Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger, he's got his own world when you fall asleep, that kind of thing. That's what this is, sort of. It's like a different dimension that one of the characters has. But yeah, it is very spooky at times. It's funny at times. It's got like a very dark, sarcastic kind of humor. Now, some of my favorite characters were some of the ugliest, worst characters in the book, like the bad guys, but I liked them. Do you ever like love the bad guy? That's kind of how this was. There is abuse, especially child abuse, that happens in the book. Not too graphic or anything, but just, some bad things happening to children. And it's kind of nice, though, because you're kind of like rooting for something bad to happen to the bad guy. You want the bad guy to pay, but then you also kind of like the bad guy, if that makes any sense. I know it sounds weird. Mr. Hill has impeccable character development, just like his dad. Like father, like son, right? Not just character development, but development of other things too, like these dimensions, houses, places. I really felt like I was there, but I fell in love with every character in the book. And that's really hard to do. I mean, I just mentioned one of the other books. I didn't like anybody in the book. In this book, I loved everybody, no matter how ugly and bad they were. No matter how disgusting they were, I still loved them. Because there was so much to them, so much depth, so many layers. It's hard to not, when you start looking at someone as an innocent child who had things happen and became a certain thing, it's harder to hate them than if you just look at them as a bad guy. I hope that makes sense. But I love books that revolve around a premise that we don't think is possible. It's not commonly thought as possible. Okay, I'm just going to read some of my notes to you. I don't mean to be a pain, but it's easier to just read it to you. So this book is about childhood and adulthood and everything in between, loss, illness, Christmas, but also how lonely, sick, and twisted the holidays can be. How much they can play with our mind. And you think about how lonely they really are for so many people. I've definitely had lonely holidays myself, and how easy it is to fall into anger and hate. It's a lot harder to not do that. And then there was the final reminder that even the bad guys think they're doing good. Like, I don't think very many people actually think they're a bad person. I'm sure there's some out there that are an exception, but I'm just saying, a lot of bad people think that they're doing the right thing. They think they're being a good person. So it's pretty fascinating. I loved this book. I read it very quickly for it being this many pages. Sorry, my arm's getting tired holding up this heavy book. I read it in 5 days, which is pretty fast for 600 and, what was it? 692 pages? Yeah, that's pretty good amount of time. I do give this one 5 stars as well. I'm one of those people, though. I either hate a book, I think it's okay, or I love it. And if I love it and I'm going to reread it, it gets 5 stars. This is one that's getting 5 stars. I plan on rereading it. I can't wait to watch the show. This is a show that is on Hulu. So if you read this book, you might want to check out the show as well. It's on AMC, but I know it's on Hulu. So that's why I'm saying that. So, but it's not a Hulu original. I guess it's an AMC. But I definitely recommend this. If you like scary books, if you like all the things I just mentioned, this is the book for you. Now, the last book that I read, I just finished tonight, and I wanted to read it as close to Halloween as I could. So I started it, and then I thought, no, I'm going to wait and finish it like right before, a couple days before. So that's this book. It's called Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell, and the illustrations are by Erin Hicks. This is a graphic novel, and it's just so beautiful too. It's about 2 friends that work in a pumpkin patch. Here's a map of the pumpkin patch. Their names are Josiah and Deja. Deja calls him Josie the whole time, but his name is Josiah, the full name. The illustrations in here are beautiful. And I love this book. It's another 5 out of 5. I'm keeping it. I'm going to read it every year at Halloween. I hope that she has a couple other graphic novels about these 2 friends. I hope. I don't know if she did or not. But if you're watching, Miss Rowell, please maybe write a Christmas one. Or maybe she already did. I'll have to look it up. Anyway, this book is about friendship. It's about letting go of past memories and moving on with your future. It is about, so these friends have been working at this pumpkin patch for years. They're about to graduate from high school. They're going off to college. So it's the last time they work at this pumpkin patch. And it's got everything that you could possibly love about the fall in it. It's got pumpkins. It's got hot apple cider. It's got just, I don't know, apple fritters or anything you can think of that you really love about that season. It's here. It's in this book. It's got a little maze in it. Let's see. A s'mores pit, chili fries, kettle corn, succotash. But I love it. It's so fun. Here's a picture of the pumpkin patch at night, or a map of it. It was really fun. It was just lighthearted, carefree, fun. Nothing scary at all. Okay, if you're worried about that, this is fine. This is the first graphic novel I have ever read in my entire life. So I'm really excited that I loved it, because I bet I'll read more graphic novels now. And why I've never read them, I don't know. As a child, I had some comic books that I really liked. This is really silly, but I had Little Orphan Annie, and I had like a Daffy Duck one and some Smurfs ones and stuff, and I really liked them. So why I've never bought graphic novels as an adult, I don't know, but it was wonderful. I have 2 more books that were on the docket for this month, and I didn't get to them. I know. I meant well. And I spent a lot of time curled up with a book this time around. But then again, that one book was really long, so maybe that's part of why I didn't get to the other ones. So I will be getting to them right away. And just to give you a little bit of a taste of what you'll be hearing about next month, I am reading this book, The Whisper Man by Alex North. I just started it. I'm on page 66, and so far so good. I'm getting into it. It's starting to build up, and it's like, okay, wait a minute, what's going on here? So I'm starting to really enjoy it, but I am excited to tell you about what I thought of this book next month. Please let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know what you thought, and if you have any recommendations, by all means, please leave them below. I do have a Goodreads page listed down in the comments or down in the description box. If you want to go follow me on Goodreads, I have to admit, with all the craziness that's been going on lately, I'm not caught up with my Goodreads page, but hopefully I get caught up really soon. But you're more than welcome to follow me on there, and if you do, I will give you a follow back. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. I love you. Bye.